Welcome back, fellow Christian soldiers. In this episode, Wombats in Combat are going to talk about having our feet shod with the preparation for the gospel of peace. And as you can see, there are our boots to shoot a worldly example, again, of a heavenly principle for which to put our feet around. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about, as this corresponds, is what exactly do we stand on? When you look at this sentence carefully, it says, have your feet shod with. Direct object. What are we supposed to have on our feet? The preparation for the gospel of peace. The gospel of peace is actually an adjective of what the preparation is. It's the preparation for or of the gospel of peace. So what is a Christian supposed to always be prepared to do, right? Paul says, arm yourself with the preparation. Peter tells us, always be prepared to share our testimony. That's what we're prepared for. And at the end of the day, all the logic in the world, all the scientific facts in the world, everything for the Christian boils back to their personal testimony with Jesus Christ. It is the one element that anyone, from a child to a very senior, experienced Christian, stands on. Because it's just as Jeff Foxworthy very famously said, the evidence of God in our little lives trump your opinion about whether or not he exists. So imagine this young, very young, inexperienced child comes up, has given their life to Christ, and they're about to walk out the door, and you know when they walk out the door, they are entering the spiritual battlefield. What do they put on their feet? What do they stand on? Their testimony, right? Their testimony is always going to be enough. It's all they have to have. They don't have to have the whole Bible memorized. Peter didn't say that. God didn't say memorize everything. He didn't say become an expert in everything. He said always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that is within us. So, as we look at the Lord's Prayer, where do we see our testimony? Well, when we boil the testimony down, what is every believer's testimony? It is simply that they have given their life to Christ. They have agreed to put their honor in God's honor. They've agreed to follow him for all time, on earth and in heaven, because that's how long eternity is going to go on. Heaven and earth will pass away, but God will always be there, and that's where we're supposed to be. So, as we look at the Lord's Prayer, what do we have? Hallowed, our Father who is in heaven, that was the belt of truth. We covered that in a previous episode. Hallowed be thy name. That means our pride is in God's name. Hallowed be your name means my pride is transferring to you. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, that's all you need to stand on. And that's all you have to be prepared to do is explain how God became real to you. And when you look through the prophets and you look through the Old Testament, when you look at the disciples, what did they say? This is how God works with me. God gave you your testimony. At some point, God became very real to you, and you fell down in submission to that reality, that truth. And no matter what you're like, there is somebody just like you out in the world, similar enough that your testimony is the most powerful thing you can offer up. Whatever it was that God did that convinced you that he rules the earth from heaven, and he is owed your allegiance, and you claimed his grace and his mercy for yourself, and what Jesus did on the cross for yourself, that is powerful. So I'll give you this example. My son was learning how to swing, and I was trying to teach him. One day I took him to the park. There was another little boy on the swing. My son wanted to join him on the swing, so I put him on the swing. He said, give me a push. So I gave both kids a push to cover the fact that my son had not yet taught himself how to swing yet. And that little boy looked at him, and 3 minutes later, my son was swinging to beat the band. It was something powerful to watch a child talk to another child. Whatever he said or did, I don't really know, but somehow he communicated to my child in a way that I could not. And the same is true of our testimony. We will reach a community that nobody else can reach. That's why God called us, is to share the good news. And if it was good news for us, it's going to be good news to somebody just like us, because we all suffer from the same thing. So, as we leave you today, we want you to be aware that the Lord's Prayer, in 15 seconds, you've already put on 2 pieces of the armor of God. But more importantly, as you go through your day, you stand on your testimony. Remind yourself of what you believed and why you believed it. With that, we wish you peace, God's blessings, and have a good night.